joining us. We're just going to hit it off with the introduction. So, welcome back to More Than a Resume, where we explore stories of personal growth, career development, and what it really takes to build a successful life beyond just the resume. So, my name is Shara Lynch. I'm your co host, and this is Jari Myers. And today we are thrilled to have a guest whose career journey is nothing short of inspiring. Today, we're joined by Jason Gibson, a Jackson native whose diverse journey spans from the fitness industry to academia. Jason is currently the department chair and assistant professor of history, at Tougaloo College, with research focused on the civil rights movement. He's also a pastor, entrepreneur, and author of Pray, Plan, Execute. And we're excited to dive into his story today.
Yeah, we appreciate you for joining us today. I know you're very busy. You've been in Spelman, Bethel College, Jackson State. You're traveling all over. How's that going? I know you're working on your PhD, EDD at University of Southern Mississippi. So how was that?
Man, it's going. I got to be honest with that. There's probably not a week that goes by that I don't want to quit that doctoral program. It's rigorous, but I'm too close to the end now. I only have 2 more semesters, so I'm right there.
Okay, that's good. Well, let's hop into it. All right. In your book, Pray, Plan, Execute, you've mentioned hearing the people say you're doing too much or slow down. I'm sorry, you need to slow down. Looking back at your time in high school, where you balanced being Mr. Callaway, section leader of the trombone in the band, and a member of the state championship basketball team 2009 and 2010, how did managing those responsibilities help prepare you for the many roles you juggle today?
First of all, kudos to y'all for doing y'all's research. I have no clue where you found all that. Man, but I think every point in my life was intentional. I firmly believe that God prepares us for what our purpose is going to ultimately be, even before we're aware of it. So literally from elementary to middle to high school, like you just said, I've always had my hands in a lot, but I'm also committed to utilizing every gift that God gave me. I don't think God by happenstance gives us anything. So I'm extremely committed to using whatever he gave me in whatever capacity that looks like. So that's all it's been. What you just said, it's been preparation from high school to now. It just looks different.
Gotcha.
Okay, awesome. So our next question is, so your grandfather was a pastor, your mom's in the choir, and your dad and brother play instruments. So you grew up pretty much surrounded by the church. So how did that upbringing influence your journey to becoming a youth minister at Jackson Revival Center?
Oh, I would say it influenced it greatly, but probably not in the way that people may think. The reason I say that, I had such a firm foundation. Like you just said, I grew up in the church, come from a very faith-based, musically inclined household. However, I've always been a talker. As a matter of fact, like I could never get on honor roll in elementary school because I always had like an unsatisfactory or needs improvement on the talking side, the behavior side. But look at me now. I talk for a living. So what it, I guess what was a deficiency then has turned out to work for me. But yeah, it's been extremely instrumental. But even growing up in the church, I always had questions. I was super inquisitive. Even I can remember being a teenager and not even fully understanding the Bible, Christianity, the gospel, the nature of Jesus Christ, not even fully understanding that. And I would ask, like my granddad, who was a pastor, I was asking him like, Papa, you said this in church, like, what does that mean? And the answers were not as sufficient as I wanted them to be. So the caveat is I actually really fell away from the faith when I was 19 years old. I grew up in the church, but my first semester of college, because those questions weren't getting answered, and I started to be introduced to new moral constructs, different ways of life, different religious constructs, I fell away for about a year. But then eventually I found my way back. But what the church did was establish a foundation that taught me so many things. It's so funny. I saw the Jermaine Dupri video went viral like the other day where he was talking about R&B ain't the same because these R&B artists, they didn't come up in the church. And when I started to think about it, I was like, man, the church taught me so many intangible things. Like I speak to thousands of people at so many institutions in different states now, but I got that foundation in the church where I learned how to confidently get before people and speak, how to steer in another direction. If an audience wasn't going with me, I learned how to feel that in the church. The church taught me um, how to how to be sensitive to my audience. How if people come from different places, how to fix my message to be more tailored to what the need in the audience was. So all those intangibles I learned in the church, but I didn't realize how instrumental they would be to my right now as a professor, as a pastor, as a speaker, as a consultant. So while I didn't understand it then, I understand it fully now.
Okay, okay. So your dad was a key role model for you, teaching you the true meaning of hard work, especially through all the times you lost him in basketball thanks to his unstoppable hook shot until you were 16. Those losses didn't discourage you, but helped you shape your understanding of perseverance. Now, as a mentor, what advice do you pass to young adults about hard work and persistence?
Hard work and persistence. I like to say something to my class, and I mean it's so cliche that either you work hard or you're hardly working. Um, that has literally been the bedrock to I think the minuscule level of success that I've been able to experience. Consistency. I've never been the best in my field. When I was playing basketball, I wasn't the best on the team. As a singer or as a worship leader, I was never the best singer. I was never, even now in this consulting space, I don't consider myself, I can name 5 consultants right now, right off, and I'm like, oh, they're better than me. But I think what has gotten me over the hump is consistency, like my relentless nature to not stop, to be resilient. Resilient, the sheer definition of it is knowing that you're called to do or become something and not giving up until it's done. So I think that's literally been my bread and butter from then to now. May not always be the best, but I will definitely be the most consistent. So, whereas years ago, a lot of people started in this space with me when I started speaking or preaching at 19, because they didn't get the engagements that they wanted by 21, they stopped. Or because they didn't get the contracts they wanted by 23, they stopped. But here I am at 32, still nowhere near where I want to be, but I'm still consistent with everything that I am a part of. So yeah, man, it's absolutely essential, man. When you can't stay motivated, stay consistent.
Okay, so Jason, take us back to 2017 when you made the bold decision to quit your full-time job to pursue entrepreneurship. And even though you didn't have a clear direction, you trusted the formula, pray, plan, and execute. Can you share more about how that formula guided you through such an uncertain time?
Oh man, that formula, I remember the day that kind of God gave it to me in 2017. But man, that has been like the catalyst. Like pray, plan is how I guide every major decision. It's the formula that I look to before I make a rash decision. So it's been I don't even know how to put it, man. Like that is literally what I do. I think with every major decision I make, like I don't take a step. I don't make a move without praying first. And sometimes a lot of people don't realize that praying is a conversation with God. So as much as it is about talking, it's just as much about listening. And sometimes God does not respond while you're right there praying. So when I say prayer, sometimes this is a process that may go on for weeks, sometimes months before I get to God gives me the plan. The Bible says, in all thy ways acknowledge him and he will direct your path. Acknowledgement comes before direction. So acknowledgement comes through prayer, and then that direction comes out of prayer. So with that in mind, once I pray and he gives me that plan, it's just up to me to have the confidence, the fortitude, the resilience to execute it. And I think a lot of people, they master the prayer part and they even get to the plan part, but it's like the execution is where they deviate or they get fearful because usually it's at the execution where reality sets in. Like, dang, it's really time for me to quit my job. And a lot of people don't want to do that because it requires them to be uncomfortable. And comfort and growth will never go together. You got to pick one or the other.
Wow. Okay. You mentioned in your book how while you and your line brother, both members of Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity, were going through a period of transition, you had the opportunity to open a gym, Explicit J3 Fitness. Despite not having experience in the fitness industry, how did you navigate this unfamiliar territory, and what skills from your background in customer service, sales, and marketing helped you succeed in this new venture?
Man, and that's exactly what it was. That was such a faith move. I love Martin Luther King's quote where he says, "Faith is taking the first step before you can even see the entire staircase." The Bible even it implores us to walk by faith and not by sight. Literally, that's what that move was. What I saw was I got a good job right now. What I saw was I'm comfortable right now. What I saw was I just bought a house. It makes no sense for me to leave this job and go and be an entrepreneur where I don't know what's to come. But first step, man, that was just a faith move. And Explicit, man, nowhere in my foresight did I see myself ever owning a gym. But that season of my life just taught me how important it is to trust God from one step to another. God will sometimes give us instruction from one level of obedience to another. What I mean by that, he's waiting on us. He will give us an unction, give us some type of instruction, and we're looking for the whole picture to be revealed. But literally, he's just waiting to see, like, are you going to trust me through this one? I'll reveal the rest once you make this step. And then once you make that step, I'll reveal the rest of it. Once you make this step, I'll reveal the rest. So that's what that was. I felt a strong unction that, like, God was like, save this amount of money and then quit your job. And I battled with it for months. And then when I finally made that move to quit my job, I just started working out with one of my line brothers, going to the gym. And he was just starting to own the gym, but he was working under the umbrella of somebody. And just so happens that month that I started working out with him, the person who he was working under was like, man, I'm about to close the Jackson location, so you're going to have to find somewhere else to work out. And he was like, when he brought it to me, this is when my business acumen started, because he was just training. That's it. He was a good trainer. I was good at business. And when he told me, he said, man, I'm going to have to find somewhere else to go. And I was like, why won't you just try to negotiate with the landlord to keep this location and you be the owner? And then that's when he was like, bro, I can't do that. I ain't gonna tell y'all what he really said because he cussed. He was like, bro, I can do that S by myself. Then I was like, hey, but I'm good at this part. And then, I mean, the rest was history. I mean, we negotiated that contract, but then that's when I started to see why my time at Jackson State was so instrumental in sales and in leadership and in team building, because that just prepared me. I was handling a $200,000 budget at Jackson State with the auxiliary that I worked. And then that year, when we first got the gym, our budget, literally, the projected sales was $200,000. Wow. So it was like, when I started to see, this is why we got to be obedient from one level to the next. Because now I understand why God told me to make that move then. And now I realize why even that's so instrumental to now. So, man, it was extremely instrumental.
Yeah, that's a beautiful story. So you've been involved in mentoring young adults, or you probably still do, I'm sure. What's one piece of advice that you find yourself giving the most often to your mentees, especially in terms of career development?
Oh, man, one word, explore. Explore. One thing that I absolutely do not regret from my 20s, from the time I graduated college at 22 to that early, mid, late 20s, one thing I do not regret is I explored. Like, I got an education degree. I started in education. I was a 7th grade teacher at Blackburn, left there, went to Jackson State, and then I went into entrepreneurship. But throughout my 20s, I was in the classroom, in education. I was in the fitness industry. A lot of people don't know I got my insurance license. I started selling insurance. I was doing music. You can go on iTunes right now. All my music is still downloadable. I was in ministry. I got into the trucking industry. We bought 3 trucks, did that for a year. And I was so grateful that I got a chance to experience, because what it taught me, even though I took a lot of losses, I failed a lot, but what it taught me was like these intangible, these soft skills, these intangible skills that would be so instrumental to where I was going. It taught me where I was strong. It taught me where I was weak. It taught me, what I needed a little bit of help on, as opposed to what I was as a person, as a leader. And what I found out was I'm a visionary. I can give you big picture. I can tell you what it's going to look like at the end. I could even paint it to make you believe it, like you came up with it. But what I'm not good at is like the details. Like I'm not good at, hey, we're gonna have to make sure that we get this license so we can operate as a brick and mortar here. And that's why I started seeing I need people to compensate for that for me. So by way of all that experience, it taught me what I was good at, what I was bad, where I was strong, where I was weak, and how that could help me and assist me in navigating forward.
Okay.
Oh, explore. Just try it all.
Yeah.
And I also think one thing that I would have went back on, and this is kind of against what I said in the book, but if it was me, God probably wouldn't have been feeling it, but I would have kept my job in entrepreneurship while I was being an entrepreneur, because I definitely could have done both. Now I would have been tired. Like I would have been tired. Would have probably been some sleepless nights, some early mornings, late nights. But I feel like looking back, I could have. So yeah. Just explore, man. Don't be afraid to step out on faith.
Gotcha. Okay. In your book, you reference Proverbs 22:7, which says, "The rich rule over the poor, and the borrower is slave to the lender." And Dave Ramsey's quote, "Wealth begins where debt ends." Could you share some key financial lessons or advice about managing debt that you wish you had known earlier in your journey?
Take your time on this.
Man. For college students, I would definitely say become well acquainted with the resources on your campus, one, because it's not until I started working in higher education where I started to see there are so many avenues where if you just push yourself to get connected to things, nobody should have to pay for college. It's resources out there to pay your way through school, even if you're not on a football scholarship, an athletic or academic scholarship. There are so many other pockets of financials that you can tap into, but it just comes through resourcing. Like I never, not once, visited the scholarship office when I was at Jackson State. Never did it, not once. I never even asked, do we have one? But it's been there for like 30, 40 years. So where college students are now, that's the first thing I would say, man. Just be intentional about tapping into the resources on your campus. Don't be scared to ask questions. But even beyond that, I'm a huge proponent for multiple streams of income. Everybody should have a primary stream, like their job, whatever that looks like. But you should also figure out a way that you can solve a problem on the back end. And don't think about solving a problem as this grandiose, overly complicated thing. Hey, I can bake sweets. Like, bro, I'm telling you, it's a lot of people that if you can bake and just market that on campus, and if it's really good, people will buy. I can cut hair. Like, figure out a way that you can market that and you can get that around your campus. So I would say multiple streams of income, tap into your resources. And last but not least, as much as you can, stay away from debt. I'm super conservative now, and I have debt. I have student loan debt. Of course, I have my house, but I'm super conservative now. But if I could have gone back, I have credit cards. As much as you can, stay away from debt. I used to, and this just shows just kind of like with the growth and maturation and with the experience, I used to be a proponent of, using debt to leverage and capitalize on the money. And to an extent, I'll still do that, but it has to be something that I know that this is going to be a win. I know that I'm going to be able to capitalize or get a pretty vast profit margin on this. But as much as you can, stay away from debt. But if you have a surefire, I know this is going to work. Yeah, go ahead and leverage that debt to draw some profit and then capitalize on it.
Okay. Okay. That was some good responses. Okay, so now as we head to kind of like the closing of our conversation, we like to do this fun segment called Rapid Fire Round. So we're gonna ask you a few questions, and you have 30 seconds to answer them. They can be kind of short responses, or you can take your time, but just make it 30 seconds. Okay. Okay. Are you ready?
Yeah, I always get nervous about stuff like this because I'm such a processor.
I know. Okay, so
I'm ready. I'm good.
yeah, you know pretty well. Okay, so these aren't too tough though. Okay, so first one. Morning person or night owl?
Morning.
Okay.
What's your favorite workout?
Favorite workout? Chest. You know what? Since I've been hurt, I've become a lower body person.
Gotcha.
Ooh, okay.
Lower body person.
What's the best piece of advice that you've ever received?
Life moves at the speed of your relationships.
I want you to expand. I want you to expand.
Yeah, I mean, life moves at the speed of your relationships. So a lot of the reason why we are moving along or not progressing as fast as we want to is because of the company that we're surrounding ourselves with. So I always kind of implore, and even I saw it, like when my circles, when my pockets of friends started to change and they more parallel the spaces that not only I was, but where I was trying to go, my life started to drastically change. And those don't have to be messy separations. What you'll find out is when you start to become so committed to your purpose and to becoming just an altogether better human being, a lot of the relationships that don't lend themselves to that, they'll just kind of gradually disseminate. They'll just kind of like gradually just dissipate. So with that in mind, that's probably the best advice I got around my mid-20s. It was like, man, it's time for you to kind of change your relation. And that was a quote that one of my best friends gave me, Fred Tate, who is big in Silicon Valley with tech and stuff. He said, man, life really does move at the speed of your relationships.
Okay.
Okay.
Favorite Jackson hangout spot?
Favorite Jackson hangout spot? I got 30 seconds.
And the home don't count.
I ain't gonna lie to you, it's probably the gym.
Which gym?
I work out at two gyms. I work out at Jackson CrossFit and I work out at Crunch Fitness.
Okay.
I don't really like to go out at this point in my life, but if you're talking about like a more night spot, my favorite hangout would probably be the District in Jackson, Eastover.
Gotcha.
Where it's like, they have the field, a few restaurants, pretty chill spot.
You might as well just throw in your favorite food spot.
Yeah.
Favorite food spot? I'm really in this like Jamaican phase of my life. I love oxtails, jerk chicken, things like that. I'm kind of there right now. But so I think probably Taste of the Island, Godfrey's, Gamboa, like places like that.
I really like the Village, just right in front of Tougaloo. I used to go there
Man,
all the time.
they closed.
I know. I was sad about it.
Man, but they are in the process. So I'm good friends with the owner, and he's in the process of trying to reopen.
Okay, sounds good.
So, yeah.
Okay. And do you remember who your opponents were in the 2009-2010 high school basketball championship game?
Absolutely. It was Forest Hill in 2009. Andre Stringer was the leading scorer. He was Mr. Basketball that year. He went on to play at LSU. In 2010, it was Provine, which was a really low scoring game. The final score was 34-32. Nobody on our team scored in double digits, but it was an extremely aggressive and tooth and nail type game. Yeah, I'll never forget it. Never forget it.
So like it was the other day. Okay.
If you could have dinner with any historical figure, who would it be?
Like because I've gotten this question before. I remember I've gotten this question several times. I got it when I was in the Mr. Debonair pageant, the AKA's pageant when I was at Jackson State. I got it again on a podcast maybe like 4 or 5 years ago. And like my knee-jerk response was always, Jesus Christ.
Right.
I've really like gotten to another level in my faith where I firmly believe in the triune, the Trinity, Father, Son, Holy Spirit. So my urge to sit down with Jesus now is not as aggressive, because I firmly believe that the Holy Spirit dwells on the inside of me every single day. The Bible says, in the beginning was the Word was with God, and the Word was God. So I have 66 books every day where I can read about the nature of Jesus Christ. So I preface this so people won't be like, he a pastor, he don't want to sit with Jesus. I'm going to pick somebody else. Historic figure or like any figure?
Really be anyone. Yeah.
I guess we can do two. Historic figure and I guess someone today.
Historic figure, I think I would sit with Harriet Tubman. For the simple fact, I don't think people understand the level of insanity that she had to have to do what she did, when she did it, and how she did it, all in the name of being guided by a supreme being guided by God. Like, that was utterly amazing to me. Like, I would love to prick her brain to talk about strategy, how she mobilized. She was obviously a leader to get slaves in the 1830s, 40s to buy into running away from their plantation when they've literally been ingratiated with a form of thoughts, a means of thinking that told them that they were subservient to another group of people. Like, so I would love to sit down and talk about that. That's the historical figure. The current figure, nah.
Yeah, 30 seconds.
The current figure that I would love to sit down and talk to would be, okay, I'm just naming somebody because I'm thinking about a few of them.
But what's the few that's on your mind?
Yeah.
The first one that I was thinking about was T.D. Jakes, and then I thought about Ben Shapiro. That may be like completely, nobody's probably expecting that, but there are a few things I would love to prick his brain about. I thought about T.I., Killer Mike. Those were two that I thought about too. And I'll leave it there. Those are just
Okay. So that's the end of the wraparound questions. But yeah. So what's next for you? Tell us about any upcoming projects or areas of research that you're particularly excited about.
Okay. So what's next for me is one, finishing my doctorate. I only have 2 more semesters. I am in the third part. It's 4 parts of research, so I'm in the third part now. Next semester is when I analyze my data and I actually defend my research. So I'm excited about that. That's coming up. There's more engagements, traveling, consulting, different colleges. I'm really excited about the work that I'm doing. Just finished my first year as pastor. Like August made 1 year that I've been a youth and young adult pastor, and that has been truly a fulfilling experience. Because it's been challenging. Like pastoring these kids. How old are y'all?
I'm 28.
I'm 22.
Oh, 22. Oh, 28. Okay, so
Yeah, I'm like that for
Shira?
Shira, yes.
Shira. So Shira, me and you kind of right there together. We like 3-4 years apart.
Y'all are actually both working on your doctorate.
Yeah, I'm in the same thing as you are, and I'm getting a higher ed EDD as well.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So I would say, Jareed, no, it's a challenge because pastoring Gen Z is different. It's different. Like the questions are different, the interests are different, and because we're in like just such a generation that's inundated with social media and media as a whole, so many things are vying for their attention. Like they can literally get on TikTok and in the matter of 10 minutes, your attention can be pulled in 30 different ways. So with that in mind, I consider it a challenge, and the challenge that I love to live up to. How can I keep them engaged and keep them interested in wanting to learn more about God, more about Jesus? So that's one of the things I'm looking forward to. Now, on the research side, I'm looking forward to obviously my doctoral research. I'm examining student perceptions toward their curriculums in their respective majors at Tougaloo College. So basically, I'm researching if students, it's a quantitative study. Basically, I want to know, do students feel like the current landscape of curriculum is beneficial to their career? How do they feel about the diversity in instruction, the diversity in course selections? How do they feel about just the overall landscape of college curriculum in their respective majors? So I'm excited about that. And outside of that, man, just eliminating more debt from a financial standpoint. So,
Okay, so how can our audience connect, keep in touch with you, or even purchase your book? Right there.
Well, that's what's up. I like how y'all aesthetically well, y'all can connect with me on Instagram. I mean, my social media handle is literally the same. I am Jason Gibson on Instagram, Twitter, on TikTok, on Jason Gibson on LinkedIn and on Facebook. So I mean, it's pretty standard. You can connect with me that way. Email is bookingjasongibson@gmail.com. And yeah, I try to respond as best I can to whatever I see.
Okay, we definitely gonna have to get you out at Ole Miss to come give a presentation, a speech, or something.
Oh, yeah, man, I would love to. Oh, man, no. You know what? Ole Miss, I feel like Ole Miss, USM, and Alcorn are the only three institutions in Mississippi that I haven't been invited to.
Okay.
Well, here's your invite.
I feel some kind of way about that. So
Well, I'm definitely gonna work on that. I know the image program would definitely like to have you. Ms. Vinson's over the image program. We're definitely gonna be reaching out soon to have you speak with us, the image scholars, for sure.
Yeah.
I look forward to it, man. I really do.
Also, how can you tell us about the shirts? I really want to give me a shirt, the Pray Plan Execute shirt. I saw somewhere. I want to get some more shirts.
But man, I don't have any apparel available right now.
Okay.
Only because when I released the book, I put all of my mental faculties to that.
Gotcha.
So I do plan on releasing. Oh no. I was saying it in August, but it's October. I'm not doing it. I was about to say I plan on releasing. I plan on releasing a winter line.
Okay.
But man, with travel, with all the other things, teaching, consulting, like time is just flying. And I'm realizing now it's October, so the winter line is not gonna happen. But I'm thinking I'm going to release something for like the election. But that's only because I already have done something towards that. So
Gotcha.
that's www.prayplanexecute.shop. You can get the book, and you'll be able to get apparel there as well.
Awesome. Well, Jason, thank you again for your time. I think this has been a very insightful conversation that our students will definitely benefit from. And like Jarvis says, hopefully we can see you around campus sometime sooner than later.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'd love to come, and I'm gonna hold y'all to it. Like in the next year, if I still hadn't been to Ole Miss, like Jari and Jari, like they make promises they don't keep.
Oh! Okay.
I look forward to it.
All right. Awesome. Well, you have a great rest of your day.
Safe travels to Alabama.
All right, y'all have a good one as well.
Thank you. Bye.